have a one-on-one session where we can come in, get free advice. If you need any help, you need anything at all, just set it up and away we go. It's great. It's beneficial for everybody. And again, free of charge. So, do what you can, come on out and it's great. We also have the next Startup TNT event coming up. That is going to be, I believe, Thursday, May 12th. The link will be in the comment section shortly. And of course, we're going to, showcase, next top 20 companies, not only in Calgary, but Edmonton, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. And of course, we are expanding into Vancouver in the fall. So keep an eye open for that. But you know what? Now we're here to talk about Arkeo and a veteran of the show. I don't have many two-time founders on, but this is the first. We'll talk a little bit about Safety Evolution, but this is going to be the first time I've had another founder on with a new company. So I'm pretty pumped. David, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful, Jade. How are you doing?
Oh man, I can't complain. I mean, it's sunny here. Probably not sunny like like San Francisco, but hey, I'm happy.
There's a different type of sun in Calgary that you don't get anywhere else. So it's a beautiful place to be in the winter and have that powerful Chinook come in and warm you up.
Yeah, yes, it is good and it is nice, and unfortunately, like everything else in that comes with the Chinooks, we get our April snow, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, and you'll get more on May long weekend too.
Well, let's hope so, right? So you know what? I mean, obviously you've come on this show before, and I would love for you to give. I think it'll lead a very good conversation here to start off. What's going on with Safety Revolution? Just a quick little update on that, and then we can talk about Arkeo and what's going on there. How you founded it. You have a great founder story, I believe, and I'm anxious for everybody to hear it.
Yeah, well, let's start with Safety Evolution. So, Safety Evolution is doing really well. As you know, last time we came on, we just purchased Safety Tech, and so we finished rolling them up as a company, and so Safety Evolution is currently right around 650 ARR now. So it's growing and it's starting to. We did a huge amount of development and change the way that we could onboard companies and a bunch of stuff like that. So it's got a good sales motion now, and I'm really happy with it. It's growing and doing some really good stuff. So we got some great releases from a product standpoint coming over the next year, and I have an amazing team there now that's operating it. So I don't have as much of the day-to-day responsibilities, which is pretty cool, and that's kind of set me up pretty well to take Arkeo and run with it. So it's doing really good, and I'm really happy with it. It was the Safety Evolution story started in 2015. Wade and I of course were out on a project and had a very high potential near miss, and about 15, 20 people nearly got killed on a job site. And we had a conversation, and 2 hours later, we decided we could build a software that would help stop workplace events from happening like that. And so, of course, like every first-time founder, we made just about every mistake you could make, built a product that we thought was absolutely amazing and then took it to market, and nobody was kind of quite as exuberant as we were about it. And so we had a lot of changes and a lot of development. And but I think it's really important for founders to go through those experiences, because they give you an education that you can't get any other way. You don't get it from books. And for the record, I have an MBA, so I learned probably 100 times more running that company and the challenges in it than I learned in my master. So I think for us, it definitely set us up to be able to launch into Arkeo. And it's a really cool story, Jade, because we just finished rolling up Safety Tech, and it was like January 2023. And we were trying to figure out, Chat GPT had come out. We were trying to figure out like AI tools that would allow us to really optimize the company. And we were able to do quite a bit with the tools that were available. But one of the things that we kept running into is like this, all the AIs didn't know your company. So you were always trying to give them information so they would be useful.
Yeah.
And so I was out on a run. I was training for 50K and ultra, and I remember exactly where it was. I was running behind this vineyard in West Kelowna, and I was like, man, what if we could create an AI that knew your company? That when you talk to it, it like understood what you were saying and was actually helpful. And so I stopped and put it in Slack so I would remember exactly how it was. And I've learned that about myself, to make sure I document ideas. And so came back, and then we did 4.5 months of research and went out into different industries and talked to people, and just we were able to in that time realize that SaaS founders were probably facing the most challenge any company could ever face. They never had enough resources. They were, trying to get into markets that were challenging. Of course, they had all the same things that most SaaS founders run into on the first time, product, market, people, customers. And so they were learning as fast as they could. And they just loved the idea of having an AI that could assist them and help them and know their company. And so we actually were like, okay, this is it. And we signed up 6 companies off of Figma Flats. We didn't even have a product.
Wow.
So there's one for you. If you're starting a company and you don't have a product, there's your indication that you have a hungry market and that they really, really want something. And if you find that, man, you need to go all in on it. So signed up those 6 companies, went live in November, and we started building in September, went live with a RAG, which for everyone that might not know what that is, it's a vector database connected to a large language model. And so the vector database would house any data that you would want to be able to connect from a context standpoint into your large language model. And so we went live in November, but what we realized like within 10, 12 days was that it was very, very challenging for SaaS companies to actually get enough information about their company to put into that vector database for it to be meaningful. And so that's when we pivoted and we said, okay, we're going to actually go in and we'll connect into your operational stack. We'll aggregate that data from like HubSpot, QBO, Jira, Slack, all that stuff, pull it in, run it through AI specialists, and bring it into a command center so you can have it telling you what's happening in your company. And so we actually go live this week with 2 of our design partners in that product, and we're pretty excited about it. And we should have a public launch here by July.
Wow. And I just want to say that, for all of our listeners out there, we did not plan that. to say that we're going live the same week that you're coming on telling it like it is.
No, we've had the podcast planned for like 2 months. So there you go. Just perfect timing, synchronicity, my friend.
I know. It's funny how the world works.
Yeah.
No, I mean, there's a few things that, touch base on there. Number one, I love the fact that, you came up with this idea when you were actually on, well, we'll call it me time, when you're doing the things that you love, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, like there's this aha moment that I have, and you can sit somewhere and try and train and do things and try and force something. But when, sometimes when you just let your mind go, you come up with brilliant ideas that have now turned into a company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was. So I think that's probably been one of the biggest changes for me too, Jade. I mean, like since I think you and I chatted way back
Yeah.
in a couple of years ago, I run a lot more now. And so that's my place where I go and think. And it's so amazing, man. You go and run for an hour and a half. There's so much time for you to work through these really challenging opportunities that you might have in business. And so I would really suggest to people that they find a place that they can go and do physical things that keep their body active so their mind can do their do its magic.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And when we launched that mental health, kind of 6 series here, and that's one of the things that we talked about the most: getting away, going for a walk. I don't care, taking your dog for a walk. Me, it's sports, playing squash, baseball, whatever.
Yeah.
You just have to do something that you love. Again, music is a big part of. I take time between meetings now to, no more podcasts, just let my mind go, listen, sing, relax, and keep myself, hopefully in a better and healthier place, and
Mhm.
with my mind and body.
Yeah. It's so important. I think that's probably one of the things there's this idea that founders need to be like 16 hours a day and just grinding. And I don't think it's healthy, to be honest. I think you'll work hard. Don't get me wrong, work hard, but you need to make sure that this isn't a sprint.
No.
This is a big, long race. So make sure you can sit in there and be healthy for a long time, because I see so many people, especially in tech, Jade, that their bodies go and they're like, and they can't do it anymore because they sat in that desk, and human bodies are not made to be like sedentary. So get out, go for a walk,
Yeah.
take those breaks, set up your day so that you can get the blood flowing. It's so healthy for us.
Oh, I agree. And we can't use this as your advice when the question comes a little later, because I know it's coming, so you have to have something different.
I'm ready.
Perfect. Let's and again, to top that off, I mean, a company is only as healthy as its founder. So, we got to make sure you look after yourself. So let's dive into your product a little bit more. Please, kind of, talk about how it works, how it's going to be like that partner that kind of, that really is there for you and lends a helping hand.
Yeah, so that's a one of my favorite things to talk about. So this may take up the rest of the whole podcast. So you might
Perfect.
not get the rest of the conversation.
All right, I'm ready.
Um, so how does the product work? It works on a multitude of levels, but I'll give you some base sides. So one of the challenges I think for a lot of companies is have the they don't have the ability to really know what's actually happening. You have siloed data across multiple different softwares. And I know everyone's heard the story of siloed data, and it's sometimes gets old, and I chuckle when I say that. So I understand the irony of it, but it's very true. And I remember when I was at Safety Evolution, and I was like, okay, I need to build a visualization of the actual sales pipeline so I can see where the drop off percentages and this type of information is. And it took like probably, I don't know, 2 weeks and a data visualization software. And it never really worked well, for the record. And and yet that information was so powerful, would have been so powerful for us. And so one of the really interesting things that we learned very quickly with Arkeo was that what used to take a year to build in this type of like BI like business intelligence standpoint, with a really good infrastructure and a large language model as a processor and some, other pieces in there, you could make these things so they just plug in and do it. And that for us was this like real aha moment. And I remember Jules is our CTO, and they said, hey, look at this report. They're like, it took me an hour to run it, but like, let's say a day and a half to like set up the logic and everything behind it and the prompts and so on. I was blown away, Jade, because we
Wow.
ran it on Safety Evolution, and it like started pulling information like on, okay, let's starting with your reps calls and telling you like, this is what they were doing, this is the challenges they were facing, this is why, this is what they were missing, like it wasn't dealing well with objection handling. These were the objections that they were kind of not being able to face. And it went through and did this whole assessment of the pipeline and pulled out that it was obviously a very it was a multi so in that pipeline it was a multi-threaded like disco demo, proposal. So very enterprise sale. And it had actually made the recommendation that we use a challenger sales methodology in the company. And this was like its assessment of our whole sales pipeline. And it showed us where all the drop-offs were. It showed us like percentages, brought in things like companies that went from lead in to demo in under 14 days were 60% more likely to close, and that 70% of the deals at Safety Evolution closed between January and May 1st in the time frame. Like stuff that when you start thinking about it, all of a sudden you're like, man, we could make a whole plan around this. Like it was just incredible. So that's when we realized we were onto something. And so as soon as Jules actually kind of got that data out of HubSpot and was able to process it, we decided we were going to build specialists. And so a specialist is, in a technical term, is an agent, is chained agents with multiple different functions. So the sales specialist goes in and it looks at all the deals in your pipelines. It's looking at all your reps activities. It's looking at where the leads are coming from, deal values, all that stuff, and bringing into the command center a report every morning for you of like, what are the top deals, which ones you need to be focused on. It's giving you a weekly report on your overall sales health. And then we also have a customer specialist that goes in and pulls all of the data from, like your customer success conversations, interviews, sales, and builds these beautiful profiles so you know who all these customers are. And so where we're going with it is so that you have specialists in your operations, sales, customer success, marketing, and in your financials. And our goal is that we're building you an AI that can actually understand your company. First of all, that's what all these specialists are doing, is they're going in, they're pulling data and giving it back to you. But they're also creating this amazing profile, because once you actually have all this information in place and you have it in your database, now this is the baseline for you to be able to use AI agents and specialists to automate out your whole company. And our goal at Arkeo is to be the software that a 5-person team uses to be able to run $1 billion company. And we see that as the way to do it. First is to be able to actually have an AI that has all the information about your company, so that it can actually start doing the things, those repetitive tasks and the other things, with the context required to be able to make those decisions for you and help you and so on. So that's kind of like the product.
I love it. And I mean, I know you and I have talked about it and in the past, and which is why I was so excited about this conversation. And obviously AI is all the buzz, and everyone seems to, usually when you don't understand it, you think negatively of it, right? So has there been anybody come to you and say, oh my God, no, I don't want AI. I mean, oh my God, I don't know what it is. I'm scared shitless of it, or whatever, anything like, has there been any challenges from those conversations?
So I run into those conversations a lot, not in like I wouldn't say when you're selling it to SaaS founders, because they're pretty on top of it and they're looking for ways to go faster. They're founders, right? They're the early adopters, which makes it really fun to sell into them. But what I do find is a lot of people really struggle with, partially it's because they don't know what AI is.
Mm-hmm.
But we get it pushed. There's a lot of fear pushed on us, right? And so I think I do get that a lot. And what I tell people is this: it's really important for you to start learning about artificial intelligence. It's very important for you to start understanding what a large language model is, what a large language model does right now, right?
Yeah.
All the different kind of, at least, terminology, because if you're afraid of something, you really should get involved in it. Is my belief. And if you think it has the possibility of doing harm in the world, then you should really get involved in it, because then you can actively be a part of the future that's being made with this technology. And the technology is not going to stop. I promise you it's not going to stop. So it's going to really give us like, we're at a moment where you can hide your head in the sand, or you can be part of a movement. And I truly believe, with having been in San Francisco for the last 5 months, and watching what's happening here, and watching the speed at which this technology is coming into play, this is going to change the world forever. This is going to change how you run companies. You, Jade, are going to have an AI that sits on your phone that is pretty much your personal assistant, whatever you want to call it, that can do anything that you need done. And you'll be like, book me a ticket for plane to go to San Francisco to see Dave. I'm leaving on this date. I want this time, blah, 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 blah. It'll be like, hey, these are the 3 options. And that will literally be that'll be how hard it is for you to do it. And so that's just like one tiny way that we're going to change the way we do this thing. Now imagine you have that in business. Imagine you're a founder in 5 years from now, and you have an idea, and you pull up your AI and you say, hey, you're trained in business. You understand this. This is my idea. What should I do next? And over the next 24 months, you and your AI build out this company. Those are the things that we see, and I think it's going to be really, really incredible, because there's this opportunity for us to become incredibly creative, because the constraints that would hold back a person from starting a company in the future are not going to be there, right? Think of this. If you and I wanted to start a software company right now, we'd need to hire developers. You know what I mean? Like, there's this huge amount of outlay. So probably going to need $1 million, $2 million. I know what we spent on building Safety Evolution to where it is right now, and it's north of probably 4 or 5 million. And so it costs money. But in the future, like, you will have people in communities where they don't have resources, right? Think like somebody has an idea in Yellowknife. How many developers are in Yellowknife, right? Like, how many, they will be able to go in, and they will be able to say, I think this is a great idea. I want to do this. And so I think we're like going into this new future of increased creativity, where people are going to be able to do so much more with less. And it's really, really exciting, I think.
I agree with you. I mean, and mostly, and why I asked that question is I just think that people who, oh God, how can I phrase this nicely? The people that don't want to learn, or don't want to, and just buy into the, what they hear, or who they want to hear, or who they're following on whatever platforms, are the ones that, don't understand how this is going to greatly enhance not only my life, your life, people's lives, businesses' lives. And we're moving forward. And I agree, it's not going anywhere. And it's going to help. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see companies like yours and all the other ones that are, going to be popping up, that are going to make things a little easier. As we know, life as an entrepreneur is not an easy journey, and it can be extremely lonely and stressful.
Yeah, it can. No, it's not. I lied. It's a wonderful, amazing experience, Jade, and everyone should try it.
We all know, right? And there are points that are joyous,
Yeah.
and don't get we're not gloom and doom here. It is
No.
awesome. It's not for everybody, but it is awesome.
Well, the toughest journeys are often the best ones.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Couldn't agree
if they were
more.
easy, then, what's the point in it?
No, isn't that the truth, right? So who would I know you said before we move on here, I just wanted to, like, who can use your platform in Arkeo? It's you said 5 company to that can run $1 billion. So I guess, what is your kind of first iteration of, you think, anybody, you can probably say anybody, but if you're going to focus on something, what industries, what that can use this?
So right now we're focused on SaaS
Yeah.
companies. So let's say product market fit let's say over 500K, but you need to have operational stacks. So you need to have HubSpot, QBO, some sort of operational softwares in place. Um, and and then right now we're roughly going up to about 20 million in ARR. And so we have we've got some design partnerships still open. So a design partnership for us is a commitment from the company to actually meet with us every 2 weeks. But what you get out of that is you get to be part of the actual development, and you get a say in like what specialists we're building and how they function. And so there's a huge amount of value in that for companies that are looking to find ways early to use AI to differentiate. There's a lot of tools on the market that can automate a single like process, but this will be the first one that actually is your artificial business intelligence. And so I think there's a huge lift for companies that get in early, because it's like anything, you get a 4 or 5 month head start on the market with this stuff, and it's going to do some phenomenal things for your ability to grow and penetrate the market and so on. So that's where we're focused on. And then we see this, expanding into multiple different market segments in the future. But we're definitely heavily focused on SaaS because obviously we're passionate about the space and we were in it for a long time and we know it. So that really helps us build these tools to be able to assist the companies there.
No, and even like thank you, Linda, for that comment. And she agrees with what we're saying. Get on. It's going to help everybody. So thank you for that, Linda. But yeah, I mean, it is so true, right? And that is something that I'm excited about. I'm excited about to watch, you grow. And I mean, I've had such a good conversation here already. I've already forgot to say, hey, if you want any more information, just click on arkeoai.com. It's in the comment section. If you want any more information about Safety Evolution, the website's up there as well. So click on that. So I guess now that you're going, you've been in San Fran, you've been hanging out there for half the year. You're going to probably come back up here. But what's next for Arkeo?
So we have, well, for me, I'm coming back to Canada for the summer. I've got 2 ultra marathons I'm running just
Ooh.
because, I I love those type of things. And I'll be in Vancouver for most of the summer, and we're just really heavily focused. We're in the early stages of marketing our seed round right now. So
Nice.
we're raising capital. That capital is going towards new customer acquisition and development. It's been pretty amazing, Jade. We opened up our wait list in on January 10th. And so, we're literally February, March, April, 3 months in, and we got 53 companies on the wait list, 10 design partners. So since January 10th, we've put almost $750,000 into the pipeline, and it's just been incredible. So really, we're gonna hold on and and put the fuel on her and just grow this as fast as we possibly can. There's a huge need for it in the market, and that's pretty much it. Just go head down and focus on product and getting it out, and then selling it as hard as we can.
So I guess I want to touch on one thing. I know that you're down there, and obviously your first company was started up here, and we met at Uniting the Prairies in Saskatoon a few years ago, right? Which was great, and it's turned into we've hooked up in Kelowna a few times for lunches and beers, and it's turned into a good friendship. So I want to kind of get your, everybody always talks about, oh, we're our own ecosystem, more this. The valley's so different, so big. I don't want to, I don't want this to be a very long explanation, but maybe some, like, what are some points that are different from what goes on down there? Because you're there, you're living it, it's in the real time right now, compared to what you've maybe experienced up in Canada for the last your life of an entrepreneur.
So it's been really interesting, Jade, because I know when I got here in November, it was pretty quiet, and San Francisco had gone through a pretty big shift through COVID. A lot of people left. It felt like there was a pretty big hole in the ecosystem here. But when I landed, it was really amazing. I've never been welcomed and embraced by a community like that in my whole entire life. It was just like they just opened their arms and like, okay, come here. What can we do to help? Who are you looking for? On a level that I was just literally blown away. I can't even explain it. I would suggest everybody come down and experience it. And um, but what's been really, really neat is to watch it explode over the last 5 months. There's a lot of, I'll say, OGs and locals in San Francisco that are like, it's starting to feel like the dot-com boom. That's how much it's come alive here. And so my biggest takeaways that I found is that the level of helpfulness in San Francisco is something that I've never ever seen before anywhere. Like I thought Canadians were polite and kind and really amazing, but um in San Francisco, they take it to like another 5 levels up. If you walk into a conversation, if you walk in and they see you coming, they open up and they're like, "Hey, come on in, let's chat. What are you doing?" I ran a fun test on, I thought maybe that they were just super friendly because we were an AI company. And I actually started telling them about safety software and I got the exact same response. And I can tell you, I've told a lot of people about safety software, Jade, and most of them go eyes glazed after about 30 seconds. So there's this real curiosity, I think, about what you're doing and interest. And I think um, that's one of the big takeaways that I'll be bringing back with me into each of the ecosystems that I've spent a lot of time in, and that is to really step my game up in my curiosity, my openness, and my welcoming to new people. And I think those are things that we can easily do as a community, and adds a huge amount of value.
That's a great answer. I mean, because I think you just don't hear a whole lot, right? You hear stories, you hear this, and I mean, and when you do, take a whole bunch of group of people down there, of course they're going to be open, and that's what they're supposed to be. So I appreciate you sharing that, especially from somebody who walked down there as a like, all right, here we go.
I didn't know anybody,
I didn't
man.
know
I came
anybody,
down
right?
here. I got a place. I was like, okay, let's rock and roll. And I got one intro from a Canadian who put me into a group called the Summit Group, and just networked and went to amazing events and met awesome founders and people, and yeah, it's been pretty crazy. I loved every minute of it.
I love it, and thank you for sharing that. And I'm sure we could probably just do a whole episode on that. which was maybe not a bad idea.
Well, I think
My
we
first
should do
my first
lots on
3-time
community
guest.
building. Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I'm always sad, and again, I appreciate you coming on and sharing your Arkeo story. For anybody who wants any information, just click on the website in the comments section. And I guess my last little bit here is, I mean, you're a multiple time entrepreneur, been in the industry for a while, so I'm really excited to hear your little piece of advice here. But David, if you had one piece of advice for a founder, startup, or entrepreneur, what would that be?
Talk to your customers. Talk to them all the time, every day, if you can. Talk to them before you ever build anything. Verify it. Take a napkin, draw out your idea, go and talk to people. Nobody's going to steal it. Nobody's going to copy it. Don't be precious with it. Get out there and get people's input, because that will save you years.
I just love that. We talk about that all the time, to get out there way before. Even yesterday, we had this conversation with a new entrepreneur that is just starting to launch it. We're like, go more, 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 more. I mean, I can't stress how many more people that you should talk to make sure that you go, because even when you do launch it, you're still going to talk to your customers, and it's still going to change.
Mm-hmm. Look at us. Like,
I
we've
know.
literally started building in September, and we're on our second product already. So, and do I think do I think Arkeo today will be what Arkeo is in 2 years from now? No.
Yeah.
It's going to probably be totally different. but it's going to evolve with the technology and what the customer wants. And this is why we have like our design partners every 2 weeks, we talk to them for 30 minutes to an hour. Like it seems excessive, but I'm telling you, so important. It's just like a game changer. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So true. So true. And again, David, I'm so glad that that you're doing well down there. I'm hoping that we connect when I head out to Vancouver here in a few months. And again, thank you so much for coming on, sharing your story. And again, anybody wants for any information, David's contact information is on the LinkedIn. If you're watching it there, the website's in the comments section. If you want some safety evolution, it's there. And again, if you do need help, sign up for the Osler, come in, talk, just reach out. That's what we're here for. I've seen David do it before. Somebody reach out to him saying, "Hey, I got time for a coffee for you." Absolutely.
100%.
So, and we said it's a journey you don't have to take alone. So again, David, thank you so much. I look forward to our next conversation. And anybody out there, I hope you enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, and we will chat soon. All right, my friend, have a great day. And